The following program has been generously funded by the Patterson Foundation. This book is cool.
Welcome, my friends, to This Book is Cool. My name is Beth Duda, and I'm the director of the Suncoast Campaign for grade level reading. We have a wonderful book to share with you today. It's called Johnny Appleseed, and it was written by Jane Yolen and Jim Burke. We have a special guest with us today to talk to us about why he thinks this book is cool. With us today, we have the executive director of the Glenridge Performing Arts Center, who is also a Pineview graduate, Ben Turoff. Hi, Ben.
Hi, Beth.
Thank you for being with us today.
You're very, very welcome. Happy to help.
So can you explain to us one of the reasons why you think this book, Johnny Appleseed, is cool?
Well, one of the things that I really liked about it is that the book is called The Legend and the Truth. So there parts of the book are poems, and then it tells you a little bit more about the real life of Johnny Appleseed. So on every page, there's a little poem and a little history.
And on this page, you can see what Ben was talking about. The top part of the page, on every page of the book, has some of the poem about Johnny Appleseed. And then underneath, we get the real facts about Johnny Appleseed. For example, up here it says, eats only apples, drinks only juice, thinks as a boy about apples' use. Johnny Appleseed. But then we see that in the history of this, that Johnny grew up in a very poor family, and it was a real struggle for them to find food. And his mother got sick, and unfortunately she was unable to recover, and the facts of his life were quite sad. But that led him to do something incredible as he got older, that he grew stronger as his life went on, and he found a purpose in his life by planting apple seeds all over Ohio and New York and in Pennsylvania. And we remember him to this day.
And it was very sad to learn that he lost his mother when he was very young, 4 years old, and he and his sister had to live with his grandparents for a while until his father came back from the Revolutionary War. His father was one of George Washington's Minutemen.
It's amazing. Johnny had some hobbies that I enjoy myself. I wonder if you saw any similarities or any things that you liked to do that he also liked to do.
Apparently he loved to read and write and did lots of reading, and I adore reading. I read all the time. But he also enjoyed being outdoors and exploring nature and the wildlife. And boy, I can imagine what this country was like when he was growing up. There was so much nature everywhere. It must have been really exciting.
It must have been. I have to say that I identified with the reading part of the things that he liked to do, probably more than the investigating wild animal part, but that's just because I'm a big chicken.
I understand, but you know, you can investigate wildlife and still be outdoors and have some fun without getting into too much trouble.
Very true. And I grew up in the Northeast, and apples are a huge business around there. I can remember going apple picking and seeing all kinds of apple orchards, and people take great pride in the different kinds of apples that they grow. And
you know, some people call apple the perfect fruit. You can eat it raw, right off a tree. You can dry it and make dried apples. You can bake it into a pie, you can can it, you can make apple butter, you can make applesauce, so many different things that you can do with apples, and they are all delicious.
It's true, they are. When I was a child, my grandmother Dot, used to make a dessert that she called Apple Brown Betty. And oh my goodness, what a treat that was, especially if we could have it warm out of the oven with just a little bit of vanilla ice cream on top. It was one of my favorite desserts and now one of my favorite memories.
I will bet you that of all those apple brown betties that you ate, you probably ate some apple off of a Johnny Appleseed tree.
It's likely I did.
My guess is that he kind of knew what he was doing because, along this trail, we learn in the book that he loved to stop and tell stories, and he would stay with local people that would allow him to spend the night with him, and he would regale them with all kinds of fun stories and tales of his adventures on the road sowing apples.
If you had to give advice to kids about why reading is important over the summer, what advice would you have?
I always liked summertime reading because it gave me a chance to read whatever I wanted to read. And if I found I was interested in adventure stories, I would read a Jules Verne novel or all kinds of other things. If I thought I was interested in sports, I would read about sports. I would read about whatever I wanted to read because there was nobody telling me, you got to read this today and 20 pages of that or whatever. I would just be able to go to the library, grab whatever kind of book I went to, and it would transport me to all kinds of new places.
Well, I appreciate you being with us today, giving us a little bit of your time. I know you're very busy at the Glenridge right now, taking care of lots of people and doing lots of things, so it's very meaningful to us that you'd spend time with us. Thank you.
It's very meaningful to me to be able to talk about reading with you, and the Suncoast Campaign do such a great job. Thank you.
The illustrations in this book are lovely. Look at this one. Not only does the author give us the story of Johnny Appleseed and give us many wonderful facts about Johnny Appleseed, we also got some great words for our word bank. The first word for our word bank is the word groan. Groan. That means to make a low creaking or moaning sound when pressure or weight is applied. Our next word is the word carpentry. Carpentry. That's the activity or occupation of making or repairing things made out of wood. The next word for our word bank is the word stumbling. Stumbling. That means tripping or losing one's balance while walking. Our next word is the word apprenticed. Apprenticed. That means to work for another person to learn a trade or a skill. Our final word for our word bank is the word cipher. Cipher. Cipher means to do arithmetic.
No qualification was ever required of a teacher beyond reading, writing, and ciphering to the rule of 3. When I came of age, I did not know much. Still, somehow I could read, write, and cipher to the rule of 3.
Ben was right. There are wonderful things that can be done with apples. We can eat them raw. We can eat them baked. We can eat them fried. We can eat them made into butter. We can squeeze all the juice out of them and have apple juice. And we can also create art using apples. Our activity today is stamp art using apples. So here you can see that we used an apple as kind of a paintbrush, but a stamp. So we dipped the slice of apple into the paint and then put it on the paper. And then we thought, what does that look like? And we added things to turn them into objects. So down here, we thought this looked a little bit like a popsicle. This one over here looked like a fox. We created an insect out of the blue one, a pot of gold out of the yellow one, and we thought the red one looked like an apple. It can be fun to make your own design using an apple slice as your painting tool. If you do create a piece of art using an apple, we'd love for you to take a picture of it and send it to us. You can send it to connect@gradelevelreadingsuncoast.net. You can discover so many wonderful people from history by reading books. I hope you explore many books this summer. Remember, reading is the key to succeeding. Bye for now, my friends.